All right, a quick look at the SPY before I go into the watch list for Tuesday, August 29th. Today's candle, fairly narrow range. Look at the volume, 40 million in the SPY. If you go back to the day before Christmas, which I think was right here, it's almost about the same. It barely outpaced the volume on the day before Christmas in 2016. So very, very dead day. And I would remind everybody that a week from today is Labor Day. The market's closed. So we're looking at, I guess you'd call it the last hurrah week of the summer before Labor Day. So I expect very light volume. And I said that before the market. I said it this morning before in the pre-market that I expected low volume. I didn't expect it to be this low. But I think this is a precursor for the entire week. And then next week, a lot of people might be on holiday to attach it to that Monday off too. So just keep that in mind. This is a great environment to chop yourself to death when things are just, there's not much volume. Now, there's still some nice trades to be had, but I just want to caution everybody. This is not an environment to make great money. It's an environment to hopefully grind your account higher, but more importantly, to not lose money, all right, until the volume comes back. So keep that in mind. And I'm going to go into the watch list for tomorrow. All right, so VCEL is kind of interesting. It had 360 resistance back here and broke it a couple weeks ago, came back down to the 20-day, and is right back up again. A lower volume stock, but there's really nothing in the way if it can get over this 370, which it hit today, and it hit about, a couple weeks ago. So over 370, it's interesting. I think it might be a nickel spreader, so keep that in mind. I have a couple sub-dollar stocks just because their charts are interesting enough to watch tomorrow. CRMD being one of them. Really big volume compared to going all the way back, however long, I'm going almost a year. Breaking out of a long range here. So maybe a follow-through day tomorrow. I want to watch that one. IDXG, I'll zoom in a little bit. This thing is still a very clean flag after this big move. I love it over today's high over 143. Then you've got another potential catalyst of 149, a break of this high, and then maybe you get through this 154. So it's a really tight flag. Let's keep our eyes on IDXG. Another sub-dollar stock here in RLOG. Got nice news today of a big stake or something by somebody. I don't know. I think it's worth watching. It nice volume, 2.39 million today. And if I go to intraday, you can see that volume that came in. So then let's pan out and look at it like on 60s. Yeah, it's trying to break out of a range here. It ended up selling off a little bit at the end of the day, but I think this is on, worth watching for a long watch tomorrow with that volume today. And, it held up okay after the news. Certainly love it over 34 cents over today's high, but it might give us even better setup than that. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. CBI, super strong move today. I mean, the chart still really beaten up, but on an intraday basis, you can see the power in that move it made. Really like a hour and a half move, pulled back a little bit at the end of the day, but I want to watch this for some follow through. Over today's high would be 1242. You look to the left, you had a 1292 back here, and then you've got the gap. So, this is a really beaten up stock. I think it's worth watching for a follow through day, even though it made a big move today. RGC got some big volume today. And I'll show you, a lot of times you can see it better on intraday. Had this nice pop on an insider purchase. It wasn't huge. I keep thinking it was like 10,000 shares. I'm not sure, but and held up pretty darn well. And so let's go to 60s here. Yeah, so I mean, you kind of have a little, so you could argue a cup and handle down here, a huge volume in the final hour. And so this one really beaten up. I was watching this one, when it looked like this, and now it's back up to, I don't know. Excuse me, I think it's worth watching for a follow-through on this bounce. It's a movie theater chain. And these are really beaten up, kind of like AMC. I think this one, if RGC rips, I think AMC is worth watching too, but that's not on my list. I just thought I'd mention it. TNDM, man, this thing had huge volume today, and I really thought we were going to get an afternoon run in it when it looked like this. I mean, it had this huge run, then a pullback, and then it bounced up to 105 and was kind of flagging. I mentioned it right in here. We got this nice move to 110. I took it here, sold some right into that 110. Actually got filled at 109. And then it came back to my entry and I was out the rest. But I kept telling everybody, if this closes strong, and try to picture this because it didn't, right? But if it closes strong, say it closed somewhere up here, this is one that might have gapped in after hours and then gapped in the morning and run today or tomorrow. It didn't close strong, but at the same time, you could argue here's 15-minute candles. You did have the big pop. and it's really flagging ever since. And I certainly love it over 110 tomorrow because that was intraday resistance. So we'll see. We don't know how it's going to open, but I think it's worth watching, even though most traders would look at this and say, hey, big old topping tail there. Shorts may be getting confident. So it's worth watching tomorrow, I think. I love it over 110, but we'll see. All right, so that was TNDM. ETRM, just an ugly, ugly chart, but it did get some news in after hours. You got this island down here, closed at 194. It actually went up to 240 in after hours before settling in around 210. What was this high back here? This was 2. So, I mean, it's set to maybe open up into this gap a little bit tomorrow. So I think it's worth having on watch for a potential gap and go. Matter of fact, we'll put it in my notes now to watch that in the morning to see if it does gap. But anyway, this is, keep an eye on it because it did pop in after hours. MSDI had this big pop on Friday and kind of an inside day today. I don't have any kind of potential catalyst like a certain price I'm looking for, but I do want to watch it. Sometimes you get a big pop, then you get an inside day, and sometimes then you get a third day where it rips again. So that one goes on watch. SFM on bounce watch here. This thing is really beaten up on Amazon, buying Whole Foods, but man, it's just straight down. And you did have a low back here on June 16th where it hit 1930. Today it actually went down to 1958. I would like to see it flush below this 1930 in the morning and then maybe see if it gives us a reversal setup. It's certainly oversold in the short term. FENG, super strong stock, and now we've got a few days lower. I'd still like to see it kind of get closer to the 20-day, but I'm going to start watching that tomorrow for a bounce back up. And then lastly, PSTG, also looking for a third-day play. You had the big breakout, quiet inside day on lower volume, and maybe we get a third-day play there. We'll also look for some gappers in the morning. Remember, keep your powder dry in low volume environments, and make sure we come out the other side of this holiday week, or couple holiday weeks here, with all your capital. That's really important. Can't make it in day trading if you don't stay in the game. That's first and foremost. All right, I'm done babbling. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.